Hello, it's Spence, the evil genius from Widget Laboratory, with your lab secret tip of the day. Well, today I would like to talk to you about my dirty laundry. Well, actually, not maybe my dirty laundry, but definitely my dirty desktop. And I bet you're the same. I bet your desktop looks just as messy as mine. Well, what are we going to do about it? If we're going to proceed to work together with the Lab Secrets tutorial series, we have to do a little bit of house cleaning. Now that there's so much information available on the internet that we're going to use in conjunction with our underlying social go network, let's figure out a system to keep it all organized so we always have everything right at our fingertips. I'm going to show you two products that I use, and one of them is old school. That's called Pinboard, and one of them is kind of new school, and that's called Read It Later List. Now, they both have a similar function, but let me go over the options. First of all, with Read It Later List, it'll work on any browser you're using, and it'll also work with your mobile platform, in this case with iPhone. It allows you to basically save either direct links to pages of things you want to read or use in the future, or you can actually save the content itself that you would have otherwise had the time to read and use it later. Let's say, for example, I'm just browsing the web, but I don't have the time to actually go through everything. I know I want to read about it because it's going to be useful or inspiring. I go ahead and use Read It Later, and I can save it to their online server. The actual content itself can be synced with my iPhone, or I can access it through any browser anywhere. It means I'm not limited to just whatever I've saved in my local browser on my local computer. Now, Pinboard has a similar function. It's a little old school, but it's founded by one of the original creators of Delicious, which had some political and financial troubles when their servers went bad a couple years ago. In this particular case, I think they've done it right because they've added in a monetization model to their business. It costs you $6.19, I believe, which is a very clever way to do it, to get a premium model. What I like about that is that it will ensure that they're going to be around, and that if you do store a lot of data, links and otherwise, you're not going to lose it in the future. There's also some cool features here that are power tool things that I'm going to include in the complete tutorial series. But right now, let's talk about the basics. Let's say you're browsing along and you want to use, let's say you're on Lab Secrets, of course, and you want to use the information from this page at a later date, whether or not it's something interesting to you, inspiring, maybe educational. But you just don't have the time right now to read it. So I want to go ahead and save it. Let's try it with both methods. If I go old school and I go with Pinboard, I have a bookmarklet that I can use right up on the top of my Firefox browser. And when I click on it, a drop-down menu comes out just like this. Now what I like about it is I can make this private, but if I don't select it as private, it'll be added to my global public profile where anybody can go along and search it. This might actually be useful for, let's say, educating members of your site, because I could go ahead and put a tag such as Lab Secret. Again, this is a lot like on Twitter, where if you use the hashtag, somebody can search on the term. If I put Lab Secrets in here, now this is a tag that will identify it for any of my readers. Let's say I build a library of information of various links. This is a great way to do it. If I go ahead and select private, it's just for me. And that's the way I like it, because a lot of times I'm just doing research. Click on Add Bookmarklet, and I'm good to go. When I reload my page, I can see that I've gone ahead and added it right up here, and I can edit and delete it in the future. Now, new school method. We look at Read It. Read It has a similar list that I can refer to, and it's accessible on my iPhone. But what's really cool is, let's say I'm browsing and I want to save this content. If I go ahead and right-click on the page, for example, and say I want to read this page later, I go ahead back here and reload. Had a little glitch in the recording. If I right-click on this and say Read Page Later, I then go back to the Read It Later site, reload, and now I've got the bookmark here. What's cool about it, though, is in this case, I actually can see the content. It's been cached on their server. Now I can go to Save Local mode and put a copy of all this right on my actual computer itself, but in this case I'm just going to use it as an ordinary bookmarklet. Now these are two of many tools, but I recommend you try out one or the other and get them in your toolkit, because they're going to become very important as we start building your social network powerhouse site. This is Spence with your Lab Secret Tip of the Day.